the 2017 Six Nations in full swing, let's take a look at some of the Adidas boots on the feet of players in the rugby tournament. Some of these you could wear for football, others not so much. We have 5 pairs to look at in this unboxing, with the most suitable for football saved till the end, so stay tuned. Let's start with the Crazy Quick Malice. Now, Adidas has 2 families of boots at the moment, the Kakari and the Malice. Picking these up, the first thing that players will notice is the sock-like collar. That's right, the collar has made it to rugby boots. Rugby boots did have the kind of ankle protection for a long time, and now it is back being popular with rugby boots. So this is an elasticated sock-like collar that fits snugly over the ankle and on top of your socks for that secure fit and comfortable all-in-one feeling. Adidas have designed this new boot with a heel that's been raised by 10mm, and that's to provide a secure grip with a dynamic foot position and explosive side steps on the firm ground pitches. One of the core features of rugby boots is this asymmetric lasering system, and that's going to provide a larger surface area on top of the forefoot when you're going to do accurate striking the ball when kicking. Now these are designed for your running backs more than perhaps your kicking backs. So these are yellow ones that we're looking at here. That's what they're for, is for the guys who do a lot more running, but still a lot of the backs will do kicking, and some of these might prefer these over the Predator Malice that we'll get to later in the video. So the good news is these are for backs, and you could consider these for football, but to be honest, if you were a footballer and you're a back, then you're probably going to be more likely to be considering a football boot rather than a rugby boot. Now the other yellow ones that we have here are the adidas Malice. Now they are very similar to the Crazy Quick Malice. They don't have that collar, but they both do have the sprint frame sole plate. You can see that these are the SG ones rather than the FG ones that we have for the ones with the collar. Pretty much the colours are the same. Using this yellow, there is a bit of a kind of ace-like look to the upper on the adidas Malice, rather than, it doesn't quite appear so much on the Crazy Quick Malice. But as I said, they've got that sprint frame sole plate. The lacing system is very similar. These boots are very similar. It's just up to you whether you'd want to go with the ones that had that kind of sock-like part. It's kind of like a neoprene type sock part that kind of locks you into the boot a little bit more, or whether you're quite happy with going slightly cheaper and getting the ones without. It's up to you. Blow your opponents away with the adidas Malice FG from Adidas in this striking core black and solar yellow design. They are in the Elements pack, and you can decide which one you want if you're a speedster in the team. They have enhanced kind of your agility with this new synthetic upper. It's more breathable than before. It's also super lightweight, and it means that you're going to be able to burst away from defenders if you want to. As I said, these have got the sprint frame underneath them. It means it's quite a lightweight boot, even though it still remains tough. It's very popular, the sprint frame, obviously in football, and it's stuck around, and they're using it a lot in rugby boots for Adidas players in the game. Now I'm going to move on to the green versions in this element pack, and that incorporates the Kakaris. So there's 2 different Kakaris available, and first off, I'd say if you're considering for these for football, you're probably best not to these ones with the collar. It's just a bit unnecessary for playing football. Anyway, if you want to go for these Kakari Force, they're made by Adidas in this eye-catching core black, silver metallic and solar green mix. The 3 stripes of Adidas are in that silver, and then the green is mixed in with the black on the upper. Now the Kakari Force are the ones with the collar, then the adidas Kakari that we're going to get out in a second don't. They're both kind of for front row players. It really is up to you which one you wanted to go for. Now there also is a Kakari Light, which is worn by the likes of Kieran Reid and those kind of light, kind of loose forwards. They're the ones who'll be bursting off from the pack perhaps a bit more and wanted that kind of a bit more lightweight boot. Guys in the front row and hookers and players like that are going to much prefer a little bit of a heavier boot and just something a bit more tough, especially if you're going to get your feet trod on in the middle of the scrum. This is going to give you that bit of protection that a lot of players are looking for. So the Force itself costs 140. The adidas that I've just got out of the box, those ones are going to cost you 110. And then cheaper versions are available with the Kakari Elites at like £75. There's also a Regulate Kakari at £50. And then there's also the kids versions, which come in from as little as like £35. And obviously if you're going to go for like an older colorway, then you can get them kind of almost nearly half price off if you wanted to. So these top end Kakari Force are designed for forwards, but with some impressive new features. Players can harness that lightweight construction of their lightest boots ever. That's what Adidas says. So the first thing you'll notice obviously is that sock-like part on the collar. It's an elasticated sock, and it fits snugly over the ankle and on top of your socks for a secure fit and a comfortable all-in-one feeling. Now they've designed this new boot with this heel that's been raised again by 10mm, like those other boots I was talking about previously, and it gives you that secure grip, that dynamic foot position. It's going to help you kind of explode and push off. Something that you see in a lot of rugby boots is this kind of heel raise. You don't get it in football boots, so that's a slight difference between rugby and football boots. Now, they've got the similar kind of designed outsole on both of these boots that we're looking at. So they're both soft ground ones we're looking at here. It has a mix between the metal and the plastic studs. You got a lot more studs at the front of these boots than you do on the backs boots, and that's because they're talking about or thinking about how you're going to want to push and drive in the scrum. So you can see on the sole plate here, you've got your 6 studs at the front. And there's also that kind of extra little blade part in there as well, and that's for just digging in and pushing and scrummaging. So that's really important for being in the scrum, is to use those. They are specifically designed for soft ground, and that's mainly what you'll find in these ones. You're going to see plenty of England players in Nike football boots, Mizuno and other brands, things like that. So the Ada power category is probably the one you'd want to consider if perhaps you're a footballer, perhaps you're a goalkeeper or a centre back or a tall striker, but you still wanted a pair that you perhaps mainly played rugby and then you were looking for something to play football in as well. You probably want to go for these ones without the collar over the ones with the collar. Otherwise, all the features of the boots are very similar. They're very much mixed together. You can't really tell much of a difference if you look at them, and that's because there isn't really much of a difference between these two boots. The only difference is the way that they'll fit. You obviously got that sock-like fit with the ones with the collar or without, and some players, especially in the front row and stuff, do prefer that collar. So if you really want a rugby specific boot, then perhaps that is the one for you to go to. Thanks to Level Rugby for this unboxing. If you want to grab yourself any of these pairs of boots, head over to rugbyboots.net where you can find the ones you are looking for. The last pair of boots in this unboxing are perhaps the ones that are most suitable for playing football. They do have very much a kind of ace feel about their design again. You are going to see them on the feet of some of the best number 10s in the world. A lot of the kickers are going to be wearing these. Any guys who are going for penalties and conversions, if that is your game, then you really want to probably consider the Predator Malice. Predator is still around, yeah, it is being worn in rugby still. That name does exist in rugby, and these are the Predator Malice. They brought that name over and brought the family together with the other backs boots, so they're all the Malice now. Been a few different names for the Predator in rugby over the years, but currently it is the Predator Malice. As I say, best option for kicking. adidas say be ice cool under pressure when you slip on these Predator Malice rugby boots. They're in this night navy, silver metallic and solar blue colour mix. These are the top-end Predator Malice boots made for kicking with some really impressive new features. In Adidas' own words, they say they are the greatest kicker's boot they have ever made. So what makes them so special? Starting with the heel, Adidas have designed this new boot with a sprinter Amex and a heel that's been raised 10mm to provide a secure grip, dynamic foot position and explosive steps on soft ground pitches. This is the soft ground pair that we are looking at today. They also have an asymmetric lacing system that's going to give you a larger striking area when you're kicking the ball, which is going to mean more accurate striking of the ball when going for touch or taking penalties or anything like this. They also further enhanced by the Adidas Hybrid Touch Upper, which is going to help your kind of kicking control and give you a bit of extra protection over the toe as well. Underneath, Adidas are again using their sprint frame, nice and lightweight, really tough, and it's going to give you great traction, acceleration on the pitch, moving away from defenders, because it's not just about kicking. Obviously you want to be getting around the pitch, not getting caught or stuck in the mud or slipping or anything like that. It's got the speed traction sole, which you'll of course remember from football. Looks very similar to some kind of football boots that were worn maybe 2014. A lot of boots had this sole plate. Anyway guys, that wraps up this video of the rugby boots. If you want to see any more rugby boots stuff, you've got questions about rugby boots, drop a comment below. We're going to put a link to a rugby boot channel that we also have, so if you're interested in seeing any more rugby stuff, you can check that out. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Go enjoy your rugby.